Good morning and welcome to Worldwide Wisdom. It's very, very important to know what needs to be done for Pesach. Pesach is not a holiday that happens by itself. It's a holiday that requires a tremendous amount of preparation. And like everything else, proper preparation prevents poor performance. There's a beautiful story about Rabbi Yitzchak of Berditchev, who was blowing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. And as he appealed to God Almighty for a beautiful decree, for a positive verdict for the year, for his community himself, the family, the Jewish people, he invoked the Pesach cleaning. You know, the various sounds of the shofar, the various sounds of the shofar, kashrak, tashak, tarak, tarat. He referred to them as using Yiddish terms, which basically speak about the various forms of Pesach cleaning. So he used the terminology of the shofar blast to describe the Yiddish terms of Pesach cleaning. And he says, may the merit of our efforts in uprooting every last morsel and crumb on Pesach serve to be a merit that will ensure the protection and of the people and serve to draw all of God's blessings upon us. There's a very special connection here between Pesach cleaning and the verdict of the year ahead. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to do a crash course today. Just try to blaze through this as fast as I can. Okay. This year is a little unique because Pesach is on a Saturday night. So quite a few things change. For example, the Shabbos before Pesach is called Shabbos HaGadol, the Great Shabbos. There's supposed to be a great sermon on the Shabbos HaGadol, because the rabbi is supposed to speak about all the laws of Pesach, or at least about the spiritual components of Pesach. Now the books have been printed and people are able to find it themselves. Pretty much what I'm doing now is what we're supposed to be doing, which is speaking about the holiday in advance of the holiday, so people can find it, locate it. You know, if you only were able to learn something when you went to meet the rabbi in person, then the rabbi would talk to everybody at one time. But today, you know, you can do it on YouTube. You can read a book. It's much more expedient. So the drasha, the big speech of Shabbos HaGadol, is supposed to be the Shabbos before Pesach this year. So it's actually the Shabbos, which is a full week before the festival, because by the time they hit Shabbos HaGadol this year, the actual Shabbos before Pesach, it's that night. So there's no time to prepare. So whatever the rabbi is going to teach them, they're not going to have any time to prepare. So that's where you go a week before. The fast of the firstborn this year is actually 2 days earlier. We spoke about this yesterday, and there was an interesting question that came up. When do we do the fast of the firstborn? It's supposed to be the morning of the Seder. So you can't fast on the morning of the Seder because it's Shabbos. You can't fast on the day before that because it's Friday. You don't normally fast on a Friday. So this year we fast on the Thursday, which is 2 days before the fast of the firstborn. Important to know that, right? Checking of the chametz is normally the night before the Seder. This year, that's a Friday night. You can't do that. So we check it on Thursday night, which is 2 nights prior. Burning of the chametz, which normally takes place the morning of the Seder. This year is Shabbos. You can't do that. So we do it on Friday morning. Now, the time of the burning of the chametz, I believe in our calendar here in Palm Beach Gardens, is approximately 12:17 p.m. on Shabbos day. But now you can't make a fire on Shabbos day. So what are you going to do? Remember, the way it works is that you're allowed to eat chametz until the 3rd hour, and then you're allowed to benefit from chametz and to burn it until the 4th hour. Right? So it's like 11:17. It's indicated exactly in our calendar. It's like 11:15-ish is when you're allowed to eat it until on Shabbos morning, and then you have to burn it by 12:17 approximately. Check the local calendar for exact times. But the problem with that is that you can't burn chametz on Shabbos. Right, but you still, the conundrum is that you still have to eat chametz on Shabbos. Because on Shabbos, you have to have a meal. You can't fast on Shabbos. You have to have a meal. Now, what does a meal constitute? Bread. But you can't eat matzah for 30 days before the Pesach. And you can't eat chametz past 11:15 a.m. approximately. So what are you going to do? That's the answer. So the answer is like this. Here's what we do. First of all, in our shul, the way we do it is, and in all shuls around the world, is that you eat the kiddush earlier. It's like we do on Simchas Torah. If you remember on Simchas Torah, we make kiddush before Torah reading. Why do we make kiddush before Torah reading on Simchas Torah day? Because we're dancing with the Torah. On Simchas Torah, we dance with the Torah when? We dance with the Torah before the Torah reading. And we don't want to have dry Torah dancing. You want to have lubricated Torah dancing with a little l'chaim. But you can't drink or eat anything out before you make Kiddush. So if you're waiting until after Musaf, until after the morning service, in order to make Kiddush, you're going to be dancing, running on fumes. So what do? We make an early Kiddush before Torah reading, on Simchas Torah. Then we dance to the Torah with l'chaim, and then we read Torah, and then we do Musaf, and then we go home for lunch, right? So that's the same thing that we do on Shabbos, Erev Pesach, which falls out when the Seder's on a Saturday night. We daven in the morning, Shabbos morning, 9:30 regular time. At 10:30, instead of Torah reading, what we're going to do is Kiddush. 10:30, eat Kiddush. But it's going to be an abridged Kiddush because by 11:15, you can't eat anymore, right? And still, it's in the middle of the service. So God's side will make Kiddush. It'll be just 2 chalas, and everybody will have a taste of a little bite of 1 chalas. You fulfill the mitzvah of Shabbos Kiddush, of lunch. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you ate every last morsel of the bread that was given to you. Because you can't just leave it on the table and wait for the cleaning lady to throw it away, because it's Erev Pesach, and you can't burn the chametz today because you can't make a fire on Shabbos. So you want to make sure that you digest it all. And if all the chametz is digested, we're good. So we only order enough bread to be less than what is needed by the whole congregation. And that way, everybody eats a little piece. It's good. We're done. And then at 11:15, we go back into the shul for Torah reading and for Musaf, and then we go home for lunch. It's interesting. It's a reminiscent of the Korban Pesach, the Paschal offering. What was the Paschal offering? What happened? Now, we don't really have to worry about this today when we don't have Mashiach here, but soon we will, God willing, this year. What happens is that your Passover meal, you worry about exactly who's around your Pesach table. When it comes to your Seder table, you're very concerned about who's around the table, Seder table. For starters, you only want to have enough people that are going to eat the Paschal lamb without leaving a morsel over, because it's a biblical prohibition to have leftovers of your Paschal lamb. Every morsel of meat has got to be finished off of that lamb or goat before midnight. And that's the crowd that you got to be inviting. So you can't have too many people. You can't have too few people. You have too few people. What happens?
Big eaters.
Yeah, you got to either get a bunch of hungry teenagers, or you got to make sure that you have enough people to fill the crowd. Also, by the way, you got to make sure you can't have any non-Jews. Can't have any non-Jews at the Seder. Can't, because the Paschal lamb can only be eaten by Jews that have been brised. It's another biblical prohibition. Yeah, so it says in the Torah. Only the Jews are allowed to eat the Paschal lamb.
But we don't usually have left.
I said, when Mashiach comes, right? When Mashiach comes, then we will have to offer a Paschal offering in the temple in Jerusalem. And when you do that, you're going to have to make sure to finish the Paschal lamb or goat before midnight on the Seder night. And only Jews are allowed to eat from it. So you're not allowed to have a non-Jew around the table. It's a family thing, you know what I mean? That's not racist or anything. It's just that, this is for our family. It's a personal tradition. I got to tell you, I don't like, sometimes non-Jews come to our Seder because they want to view. And it's not a museum. This is not, you know what I mean? It's not a viewing. It's my family. It's our family, It's not the time for viewing, right? So it's important to understand that, right? Anyway, so we were talking about how to destroy the chametz on Pesach, on Erev Pesach when it's Shabbos. You can't burn the chametz on Shabbos. You want to make sure that you only have enough chametz to digest and consume on Shabbos. Now, what happens if you can't finish the bread that you ordered? Maybe, I don't know, the caterer sent in 48 chalas or something, and you're like, what are we going to do now? Right? So if you notice it on Shabbos, what you got to do is you got to go to the toilet and you got to flush. You got to flush it down the toilet, because in the toilet, at least it gets.
And then you call the computer.
You call the plumber, yeah. Maybe not all at the same time. Yeah. Okay. Then, now, you got to burn the chametz. There's a mitzvah to burn the chametz, but you can't burn it on Shabbos. When you do the burning of the chametz, you do it on Friday at the same time. Friday at the same time, which is at the end of the 4th hour, which is 12:17 here in Palm Beach Gardens. What happens if you miss that time? Normally on Erev Pesach, if you miss that time, it's a terrible thing, because you missed the time and now you can't burn the chametz anymore. But because it's actually more than 24 hours before Pesach, you actually technically are allowed to burn the chametz until the rest of the day, until Shabbos, right? But we try to stick to the 4th hour, which is the tradition. But really, the biblical prohibition is that in the morning of the Seder, which is the 14th day of Nisan, that's the day that you're burning the chametz at the end of the 4th hour, right? So we try to do it on Friday at the same time limitation, but if you missed it, then it's fine. Now, when we nullify the chametz, we don't say it when we burn the chametz. Normally, we do a nullification of chametz affirmation when we burn the chametz. We don't do it this year on Friday. After we burn the chametz, we leave. Because now why don't we nullify the chametz? Obviously, because you're still eating Friday night and Shabbos morning, so you can't nullify the chametz. And whose food are you eating on Friday night and Shabbos morning, right? So you don't actually say the nullification of the chametz until we'll see. After you burn the chametz, we leave over just the chalas and not for the meals of Shabbos. Remember, 2 meals of Shabbos. The selling of chametz takes place one day earlier on Friday. Normally, the selling of chametz takes place in the morning of the Seder, where the rabbi will go to meet with the Gentile, a special Gentile that is familiar with the law, of where we take all of the chametz that was sold to the rabbi. And I hope everybody's selling your chametz, filling out the forms. You can go online to jewishgardens.com/set me free, or just ask at the office or at the front desk over here. You can sell your chametz. It's very, very important just to fill out the form, so that way you don't own the chametz on Pesach. And then the rabbi will sell it to the Gentile on Erev Pesach. Problem is, you can't do a sale on Shabbos. So again, we'll do that on Friday. On Shabbos morning, we daven early. We finish eating the chalas before the time of the prohibition. The actual meals of Shabbos should be Pesach-dik. Because what happens if the meals of Shabbos are leavened fermentation or chametz-dik? Then you got a problem, because what are you going to do with the leftovers? You can't even wash the dishes, right? Nullifying the chametz is recited twice, once after checking the chametz on Thursday night, and a second time would normally be when you burn the chametz. You don't do that. You don't nullify the chametz at the burning of the chametz because you're still eating. So the second time you say the nullification is after eating the challah on Shabbos morning, after the kiddush. When we end the kiddush, we bench, and then we say the nullification of the chametz. Any leftover chametz should be flushed down the toilet on Shabbos before the time of the prohibition before the final time of burning the chametz. Yes, Toby?
Who's going to sell the chametz? You're not going to be here.
No, I take care of it. Don't worry about me. I'll take care of it. You sell it to me, it's all taken care of. Wherever I'll be, I'll take care of it. You cannot eat chametz or matzah in the Shabbos afternoon meal. You're supposed to have a meal on Shabbos afternoon. Now, you can't eat matzah.
So what do you do for motzi?
Hang on. You can't eat matzah Erev Pesach. Remember, for 30 days. You can't eat chametz because it's after the time of the 4th hour. So what do? Shabbos afternoon meal does not have to be on bread. It could also be on fruits. And that's pretty much the only thing you can eat on Erev Pesach in the afternoon. So that's what you eat. The Seder plate should be prepared from Erev Shabbos, because you don't want to prepare on Shabbos for Yontif. So before Shabbos, you want to prepare the Seder plate, and no preparations for the Seder may begin on Shabbos itself, right? So let's talk about preparing for Pesach. The first preparation for Pesach is to ensure that everyone else has what they need for Yontif. It's more important to ensure that other people have what they need for Yontif before we take care of ourselves, even though the tradition of mois chita means food for wheat. You're supposed to give, or money for wheat. You're supposed to donate money for the poor so that other people have what they need for Pesach. So originally this started as a fund to provide matzah, food for wheat, for others. Nevertheless, in latter generations, we expand that to include all the needs of Yontif. We want to ensure that other people have everything that they need for the Seder, everything that they need for Yontif. If someone has a need, they should let us know. If you'd like to donate to this fund, please donate to the shul, and we will appropriate the funds. Okay? We also want to make sure that everybody is able to get a matzah, a proper kosher matzah, that they can that they can eat at the Pesach Seder. And that would be the round shmura matzah, which should be on your Seder table. We over here at the shul give it to all of our members, and we then give another box for our members to give to their friends to pass it forward. If you didn't yet receive your matzah, please make sure to receive it on the way out here today. It is also a biblical obligation to make your wife and children joyous in anticipation of the holiday by buying them an outfit or jewelry. Jackie's getting like this.
I think my wife came up with that one.
Yes. So Harvey, what did you learn today? Right? And also, it's important to buy something for the kids as well. So in my house, the kids are very excited. Half a year they're waiting for Pesach, half a year they're waiting for Sukkot, because they're waiting for the special outfit or something that they're going to be wearing for that holiday. And that actually greatly enhances their joy of the festival as they are excited. They look forward to it. You want to make sure that it's exciting and meaningful for your wife and for your children. So try to buy them something, whether it's jewelry, whether it's an outfit, whether it's a toy, something, right? During the month of Nisan, we don't say Tachlin for the entire month. In the first 12 days of the month, we say the Nasi, it's the president's contribution when they inaugurated the tabernacle, with Moses. Each tribe's president inaugurated it for each of the first of the 12 days of Nisan. So we mention that each day in the Siddur. It's page 392 or 391 in the Siddur. And you should also try to learn the laws of Pesach as thoroughly as possible. Now, let's talk about chametz quickly. The Arizal taught the one who is scrupulous regarding even the minutest quantity of chametz in Pesach. The Arizal was a great Kabbalist 500 years ago. Somebody who's careful to avoid even the smallest amount of chametz in Pesach is guaranteed not to sin the entire year. He possibly refers to immunity from inadvertent sins, but there is no doubt that every individual maintains freedom of choice. So just because you scraped away your chametz countertops, it doesn't mean that you are not going to sin. It means you still have ability to choose, but maybe inadvertent sins you're protected from, right? So we're going to learn further. I got to go now, but we're going to learn further about how to kosher your Pesach, how to kosher your kitchen and your dishes. So stay tuned for more of that coming up. But with that, I've got to end it here. I got to go. Have a good day, everybody.